I got a cross versus battle for you guys today. And guess who's in this battle? We have Fairy Tales, Natsu Dragneel on this side. And then on this side, we have we have Monkey D. Luffy of the Straw Hat Pirates from One Piece. You know, they're gonna fight in Fairy Tales world first. You know, they'll just fight at the Fairy Tale Guild Hall. We'll keep it simple. And then when it comes to fighting in One Piece, they'll fight. Oh man, we'll just put them fighting at Marineford, right? They're just there, you know, to fight. It's just a place to fight, right? Now, the first scenario, which is happening in the world of Fairy Tale. Physical strength goes to Natsu. Luffy is strong as fuck too, right? But Natsu, like their verse is like a little bit like it's a tier above um One Piece and like even Naruto, right? So if they're planetary, they're above planetary, you know, right above it. Strength wise, it's Natsu. Dragon Slayers are strong as fuck, right? Especially Natsu, he's the strongest one, right? Speed, like Luffy's fast too. Honestly, if you wanted to say that Luffy was faster than Natsu, I wouldn't, hate you. You know what? Fuck that. I'm saying he's faster. People in the comments can come at me if they want to. Natsu's fast, and he is fast. Like, that's debatable if you want to say it's debatable. But I got Luffy with the speed, right? Especially in Gear 5, you know? And also, he can see shit coming beforehand. He has that, like, reaction speed, too, on his side. So Luffy has speed, too. Now, durability, like, dragons, and this is what you gotta understand, Dragon Slayers are durable, man. They're pretty damn durable, if you ask me. They can take some damage. But Luffy is also very durable, and he can also take, blunt force damage. So I give the durability to Luffy. Endurance, though, I give it to Natsu. Both of these guys have like endurance, and they can stay in a long fight. But based off of like affinities, right? He has a fire affinity, and Luffy does not have immunity to fire. He don't. He has immunity to lightning, which if Natsu went into his dragon, um, is fire lightning dragon slayer form, right? Only half of that attack would like actually affect Luffy, right? The fire part, the other part wouldn't. Intelligence, I'm gonna give the slight edge to Natsu. Both characters are not smart in their verse. They're not considered the smart guys. However, I do think Natsu's a little bit more, just a little bit, and that's debatable. If you have Luffy, that's fine, because I got Luffy for the experience, y'all. I got Luffy, been in more fights and other things. Both characters have fought people who were more powerful than them, and they had to take their L's and whatnot. But Luffy had to do that more, and he, has more experience learned from those fights, right? So I give it to Luffy. Close skills go to Luffy. Natsu has decent hands too, and he does. He's running up on people, slapping them, punching them, kicking them. But Luffy's doing the same shit. And now he can like stretch too. But when I give the range skills to Natsu, it's based off of not how much range skills you got, right? Because they both have about the same amount, but who's winning in that exchange, and it's definitely Natsu winning that shit. Recoup, I'm giving it to Natsu. Luffy hasn't figured out Gear 5 to that point yet. So basically, he can go into Gear 5, leave Gear 5, and like he can't constantly keep it, right? That's what I see, and that's what we know, right? In this fight, you don't want to be doing shit like that. Turning it on and off. And like he does have that to it. Like he has an advantage, right? But Recoup, I'm gonna give that shit to Natsu. both characters have bounced back from death. I just give the slight edge to Natsu. Hacks go to Natsu. Luffy's Gear 5 is a great hack too, and it is because Natsu's never seen shit like that before. He's like, oh shit, everything's rubberized, I'm bouncing. But like, as far as like AP and attack power goes for like his, when he gets his like Atlas Flame, his Igneo Flame, his fucking all that, right? That is burning the environment. Luffy, like I said before, he don't have resistance to fire. Even in Gear 5, he don't. And I love Luffy, right? And I actually give the environment to Luffy over Natsu, even though it's in the fairy tale world, because there's less water in that series. It's not an island that they live on in fairy tale. It's a continent, more land, right? That actually plays to Luffy's advantage with his Gear 5 and shit, right? But even with all that, I give Natsu the win, high difficulty. Alright? Now the next scenario is in One Piece, and they'll fight at Marineford. Just because I want to see that shit go down there. Those they'll fuck that place up, right? Um then strength goes to Luffy. Physical or not Luffy, my bad. It goes to Natsu. Physical strength goes to Natsu. Luffy, he's taking that L there. But in speed, I think Luffy's, slightly faster than him. All right, especially in Gear 5. And then he also has his, like I said, the future sight. He can, see into the future level. It helps him dodge attacks, right? But he won't be able to dodge everything. Durability, I'm giving that shit to Luffy. Luffy can take blunt force damage. Um, I think slightly better than Natsu can. Um, endurance goes to Natsu. Luffy is a endurance beast too, but I think that Natsu just hasn't beat in this instance, in this category. He got him beat, and intelligence goes to Natsu. Slight edge to Natsu there. Both characters, like I said before, they ain't the smarty smart boys in their animes, but they have some brains when it comes to fighting. Now, experience goes to Luffy. Been in more fights, seen different things. Fire, he's seen that shit before. Natsu has never seen shit like Gear 5 before. Experience goes to Luffy. Close skills go to Luffy here. If you want to give it to Natsu, fine. But I think Luffy got that shit. I think Luffy's throwing the first punch in this fight. Even though Natsu's a fiery personality, I think Luffy's got that shit. He's the one throwing the first punch. Range skills go to Natsu. Both of them have range skills. Now, Luffy stretches his arms out, but Natsu has dragon roars, different kinds, right? He's cooking those arms, right? Those arms are getting cooked. And even in Gear 5, he's like, oh, fuck, my arm. But you say, probably the battering gun, right? That's a big move, right? That's one of his, big boy moves. Even then, though, I still think that it's, getting to the Dragon Slayer roar. It's gonna basically cancel out, is what it's gonna do. It's not gonna like actually affect Natsu. It's not gonna actually land, is what I'm telling you. Recoup goes to Natsu. Slightly, both characters are not known for their recuperative abilities, but they both came back from the brink of death. Natsu, he had closer encounters with death than Luffy. Um, I don't know, for some reason he fights people and they're stronger than him. Every time it's like he ain't ever like he should lose some of the fights that he wins, man. He has some like plot armor. Natsu does. If you ask me, he's one of those characters who has some like a good bit of it. Hacks go to Natsu. He has all those Dragon Slaying forms. Like I said, the lightning form is kind of useless in this situation, but he'll find out. Um, but it's still, it's backed up by fire. He has Dragon Force. He can go into Dragon Force and then use the flames, which is going to amplify his Fire Dragon Slaying magic. Igneous Flame, Atlas Flame, Igneous Flame. And now we have the environment. That's going to go to Natsu. Since Natsu can hit Luffy into the water. And from what we've seen so far, Luffy can't rubberize the water. However, I'm hoping for that in the future. As a One Piece fan and as a Luffy, fan and shit, right? I'm hoping that he can do that kind of shit. But right now, it hasn't been shown. That being said, Natsu wins this shit high difficulty. We know Luffy's a guy that, like, don't give up. If he's fighting Natsu, he's putting everything out there. He's probably leaving Gear 5, once or twice. And even that's not enough. Because that Dragon Slayer shit is just like, man, you gotta watch Fairy Tail. Like, don't hate on the power of friendship and shit. Actually watch it. It's not hard to watch. But be cool, Claw in the corner. And I'll have some One Piece videos tomorrow. But be cool, Claw in the corner, and let me know what you think about that in the comments below.